Hello everyone, and welcome to my CSU channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Todd Chrisley claims he was working on my last season of Chrisley Knows Best before guilty conviction. Todd Chrisley was going to make an unexpected move. In a joint interview alongside wife Julie Chrisley and daughter Savannah Chrisley for their new Lifetime series, The Chrisleys, Back to Reality, the family patriarch looks back on his brood's former USA Network show, Chrisley Knows Best, while speaking with People exclusively. Chrisley Knows Best was a wonderful show and still is, Todd, 57, says. I mean, you can tell in how many times it's airing and reruns and whatever. I'm grateful for what the show brought us. But to whom much is given, much is required, he explains. I think what was required of us was that we had to present ourselves one way while behind the scenes we were actually having to live another way, he shares. And I'm not going back to that. From there, Todd claims, I had started winding down. Todd notes that everyone in the family was fighting with him, telling him that he had to do another season. And I'm fighting with them saying, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. You guys have been doing it as long as I have. Keep going if that's what you want to do, he recalls, before referencing his eventual incarceration, saying, and then God kind of said, okay, I'll fix that for you. None of you can do it. The series followed as Todd and Julie navigated the ups and downs of leading their Southern family. Savannah, Chase Chrisley, Grayson Chrisley, Chloe Chrisley, Nanny Faye Chrisley, Kyle Chrisley, and Lindsay Chrisley also starred. Its success led to spin-offs, What's Cooking with Julie Chrisley and Growing Up Chrisley. However, all of their shows, including a planned dating series Love Limo, which Todd was set to host, were canceled after Todd and Julie were convicted on tax and bank fraud charges in June 2022. The final season of Chrisley Knows Best unceremoniously concluded in March 2023, just 2 months after Todd and Julie, 52, reported to prison. The longtime couple, who wed in 1996, were supposed to serve a combined 19 years behind bars. However, their sentence, which was reduced, was fully pardoned by President Donald Trump on May 28, and they were released the following day. Chase, 29, and Savannah, 28, are among the show's executive producers. I think now the show that Savannah and Chase and the rest of the family have started with Lifetime, I'm going to be watching the first season, just as you're going to be watching it. We have seen no clips, Todd says. We're seeing and getting the same shock value on some things as what the fans are going to be getting. What I think is going to be different now is going to be an authenticity that truly was not allowed to be shown in Chrisley Knows Best. Savannah has an opinion. She's making her opinion known, he continues. Chase has... I haven't really seen a whole lot of what Chase has said, but I know that they're going to be saying whatever they wanted to say, and they didn't have me in the corner looking at them. They didn't get that side eye with this show. He then jokes, so, we'll see how well they've been raised. For me, in my mind, filming this show was going to put it on TV, and then maybe it would bring more attention to the corruption. And then it would get the president's attention, his office's attention. She explains, nothing how that was my whole reason for doing the show, even though they got word that the pardons were happening days after filming initially wrapped. Throughout this show, it was important to kind of claw back the layers and show people the ins and outs of the criminal case, and who was working with the government, who wasn't, and how there was prosecutorial misconduct, she concludes. I wanted to go into every single detail because when you see the United States of America versus the Chrisleys, there's nothing that can prepare you for that. Todd Chrisley has never been one to hold back, and even from behind bars, he's making headlines once again. The former Chrisley Knows Best patriarch has opened up about the final chapter of his family's hit reality show, and according to him, he knew the end was near long before cameras stopped rolling. Todd recently claimed that he was working on his last season of the series before everything came crashing down, and his emotional revelation has left fans reflecting on the rise and fall of one of reality TV's most glamorous families. The confession from prison. In a recent phone call shared through the Chrisley family's podcast, Todd reflected on his final months of freedom before reporting to prison. His tone was surprisingly calm as he explained that, deep down, he sensed something shifting, both personally and professionally. I remember telling Julie one night, "I think this is it," Todd recalled. "We were filming what I believed was going to be my last season of Chrisley Knows Best. Not because I didn't love it, but because I could feel that God was preparing me for a change." Those words hit differently now. Fans remember the final season, aired in fragments and edited after Todd and Julie's sentencing, as bittersweet. The laughs were there, the family charm was intact, but the tension was undeniable. Behind the witty one-liners and elaborate Southern dinners, the cracks in the Chrisley empire were already beginning to show. A family at the peak and the breaking point. When Chrisley Knows Best debuted in 2014, it was pure television gold. Todd's mix of sharp humor, designer suits, and over-the-top parenting instantly made him a household name. Julie was the calm counterpart to his flamboyant energy, while Savannah, Chase, and Grayson became fan favorites in their own right. The show gave America a front-row seat to Southern luxury, from mansion makeovers to family vacations that were equal parts chaos and comedy. But as Todd now admits, the success also carried pressure. "I was tired," he confessed. "Not tired of the show, tired of pretending everything was perfect when my world was starting to crumble." By the time filming wrapped on the show's 10th season, the Chrisleys were facing legal storms that would soon eclipse their fame. In June 2022, Todd and Julie were convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion, a shocking fall from grace that sent them both to federal prison in early 2023. Todd insists that he didn't want to walk away from Chrisley Knows Best out of defeat, but out of awareness. "I knew it was my last," he said quietly. "I wanted that season to show who we were as a family, not who the headlines said we were." Behind-the-scenes struggles. Insiders close to the production say Todd's intuition was palpable. According to one producer, Todd grew more introspective during the final shoots, often pausing between takes to talk about faith, forgiveness, and legacy. "He wasn't the same Todd we met back in season 1, the producer shared. "He had this sense that he was closing a chapter. We didn't know the full extent of what was coming, but he did." Those around the Chrisleys recall that the family dynamics had also shifted. Savannah and Chase were both exploring independent projects. Julie was stepping back from the spotlight, and Todd seemed preoccupied with protecting their image. The man who once thrived on control now appeared to be grappling with the misconception that I always needed the cameras, Todd explained in the podcast. "That's not true. What I needed was to tell our story our way. But when life started telling a different story, I realized I couldn't edit the truth." The emotional goodbye. As Todd revisited those memories, he admitted that wrapping his final season was more emotional than fans might have realized. "When they yelled cut that last time, I remembered just sitting there, not saying a word. I didn't know if I'd ever sit in front of those cameras again." Julie, ever his anchor, tried to comfort him. She said, "Todd, no matter what happens, we did this together." And she was right. Whatever people think of us, we built something from nothing. We gave people laughter. Todd's voice cracked as he added, "It wasn't perfect, but it was ours." A legacy complicated. Today, Chrisley Knows Best remains a fascinating piece of reality TV history, a rags-to-riches story that transformed into a cautionary tale. Yet despite everything, Todd seems to view the show as part of his redemption journey. He's currently serving his sentence in a Florida prison, while Julie is incarcerated in Kentucky. Still, their children have carried on the Chrisley name with remarkable resilience. Savannah, now the legal guardian of her younger brother Grayson and niece Chloe, continues to host the family's podcast, Unlocked, where she often shares updates about her parents and their ongoing legal appeals. Savannah has confirmed that her father continues to write, journal, and even brainstorm ideas for potential post-prison projects. "He still dreams big," she said. "He told me once that if he ever does television again, it'll be to help people, not to impress them." That statement echoes the sentiment Todd expressed when reflecting on his last season. "It wasn't just a show," he said. "It was a chapter of my life, and when you close one chapter, God will hand you another. You just have to be ready to read it." The road ahead. While the future of Chrisley Knows Best remains uncertain, rumors have swirled that the Chrisley children may soon star in their own unscripted series, one that focuses on rebuilding life after scandal. If that happens, It would mark a symbolic continuation of Todd's legacy, even as he serves his time away from the spotlight. Still, Todd seems less concerned with ratings these days, and more focused on reflection. Sources close to him say he spends most of his days mentoring other inmates, reading scripture, and writing letters to his family. He talks about grace and forgiveness constantly, one insider revealed. He believes this season of his life, prison, is just another test. Todd himself seems to agree. If Chrisley Knows Best was about showing people how we lived, he said, then maybe this chapter is about showing people how we've learned. I may have been working on my last season of the show, but I'm not done working on myself. The final curtain. For fans who laughed along with the Chrisleys for nearly a decade, Todd's confession adds a haunting new layer to the family story. Behind the lavish homes and camera-ready smiles was a man who sensed the ending long before it came. Whether one views Todd Chrisley as a fallen star or a man on a journey of redemption, there's no denying his impact. He turned his life, messy, flawed, and colorful, into a piece of pop culture history. And if his words are any indication, Todd's story isn't finished just yet. As he put it,